Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the Radeon RX 9070 in GTA 5 enhanced with ray tracing. This one is the Powercolor Hellhound version of the card. I am running it with the latest AMD drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Up's GPU-Z as usual, and over on the left, I am pairing it with a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D and 32GB of RAM. Let's get into it, shall we? First up, let's go over the settings. We're starting at 1440p resolution, the target res for this card, at the maximum RT settings, using frame scaling set to FSR3 native AA, which actually looks pretty sharp. It's nice in this game, and I didn't touch anything else. So that means that the high resolution shadows are turned off, extended shadow distance as well, and motion blur, well, yeah, of course that's off. I always turn that off, but I didn't do it on purpose this time. This is just the preset of maximum RT settings, and as you can see, this is actually pretty adequate for this GPU if you're not looking for a super high refresh rate experience, because it mostly gets around 70 to 80 frames per second. Inside it actually drops a little bit, as you can see, getting 60s. I'm going to start counting our FPS as well, but I don't think it will drop from 60 FPS. Usually inside it's a little bit more intensive than in Jack's Hill, so it's good to see that over here it doesn't really drop too much in terms of FPS. Alright, we're going with this one because it's orange, and we're testing AMD today, although that red one is probably more adequate, but who cares? That's crap, right? The red one is really bad. Let's keep on going here. As you can see, inside of the city, driving around, things go up into the 100s at times, so it's a really smooth experience, even with the ray tracing set to the maximum, and that's great to see as well, because, you know, AMD GPUs didn't used to be very good at ray tracing, and I actually tested the 7900 XTX already from previous generation, which is supposedly a bit faster than this, and it is faster than this in rasterization, but in the maximum RT preset in this title, it was struggling a little bit. Good to see that AMD has improved so much in terms of ray tracing performance with this new generation, putting it mostly on par, just a little bit slower than the counterparts like the 5070 compared to the 9070, for example, because that's the competitor of this GPU. It's just like 5% slower overall, this one. In terms of ray tracing, in terms of rasterization, this is around like 10% fast, just if you're wondering. Alright, over here, as usual, things go up into the 100s. I don't know... I wasn't really paying too much attention to what I was doing, and I thought, maybe we actually managed to not hit anybody, but no, the car is all full of blood. Now, what's gonna be really nice is when GTA 6 comes out, my friends. The trailer just came out a couple of days ago. We reacted to it here in the channel yesterday. It's such a pretty game, dude. It improves so much on top of GTA 5. That's to be expected. GTA 5 actually released on PS3. Can you believe that? A system with 256 megabytes of VRAM and another 256 megabytes of RAM. Crazy, right? And now we're playing it here with ray tracing. Obviously, it didn't have ray tracing and high-resolution textures and stuff like that on PS3. Hello, Jack. How's it going, buddy? All right, let's keep on going here. Even in Jack's Hill, no problems whatsoever in terms of FPS. Okay, so it does dip down from 60 FPS over here in Bob's Hill, or Bob's part of the hill. Goodbye, Bob! Alright, there we go. So we just need to kill him. Everything's gonna go back to normal and up into the 80s, as you can see, and 90s and 100s. Basically, guys, you could play like this absolutely fine. I wouldn't really have a problem playing at 1440p with the maximum RT settings enabled. I think it looks great. It looks basically the same as very high RT settings, though, so maybe just use that if you want a higher refresh rate experience, but I will also test that a little bit later. We also have some really nice looking reflections, ray trace reflections, so they're accurate and stuff. Oh, I forgot to make it rain, my friends. Let's do that. There it is, we made it rain, and it gets just slightly more intensive when you do so, maybe like 3 or 4 less FPS, where you would hit like 100 FPS, now we will hit like 96. The most interesting part is going to be in Jack's Hill, so I'm just gonna go back there, but now we can take a proper look at the reflections reflections a little bit better because, you know, there are way more puddles and everything is wet, so yeah. Hello, Jack, how you going, buddy? It's a little bit different, actually. Maybe the other one was Jacqueline. Okay. Anyway, let's go see the FPS inside of Bob's bushes. Yes. Come on, come on. All right, there we go. The car is fine. Let's go inside of here. 50s. So yeah, it drops a few more FPS than previously because it's raining now. 55, 56, 53 was the minimum as suggested by the 1% lows as well. Oh boy, come on. Control the car, crisp. So let's stop it right there. 83 FPS average, 54 1% lows at 1440p. And let's try it at 1080p. So here we have it, 1920 by 1080 resolution, maximum RT settings, FSR 3 native AA. Also, if you don't utilize FSR 3 native AA and you use like TAA instead, which will look softer, of course, you can actually achieve like 5 more FPS or so. So if you want to go that route to not drop from 60 FPS even inside of grassy areas, you can go that route, you know. So let's just keep on going though. Over here everything's fine. 1080p resolution for this GPU is no problem whatsoever. Of course, it's again like 5070 kind of performance, 4070 super kind of performance, a little bit faster actually in rasterization once again. So that means that 1440p is actually a really adequate resolution in my opinion for a card like this and for those cards on the Nvidia side of things as well. Although if you go with a 1080p monitor, that's absolutely fine, of course, no problems whatsoever. You're gonna achieve higher refresh rate experiences in most titles, you know, but again, it does so well at 1440 that I really think that you should just get a 1440p monitor if you have this card and enjoy those 78% more pixels. Yes, it is a big difference. It makes a huge difference in terms of visual quality and sharpness and stuff. Although, again, a lot of people are fine with 1080p. Let's keep on going here. Come on. The car is not turning very well anymore. Probably because we wrecked it already. Let's go. Oh, boy. Yeah, speaking of wrecking the car, that's what just happened. And the door goes away as well. Another very interesting thing about the GTA 6 trailer 2, by the way, was the fact that the car physics were so good. Especially when the explosion happened. You could see tons of little parts of the car just deforming themselves and going out of the car, you know, just exploding basically, of course. Particle effects and so on. And yeah, that's gonna be so cool if you can destroy the car in many ways, because that's something that GTA 4 actually did already in 2008, you know, and it was absolutely phenomenal back then. I think the car physics in GTA 4 are even better than in GTA 5, and especially like the deformation and stuff like that when you get into an accident. Also, another thing about the ray traced reflections here, yes, they're accurate. You can see them on the back of the car here. This one's very noticeable, and it will reflect other cars and NPCs and stuff like that, which are not reflected, I think, on the legacy version. But they're not super high quality, unfortunately. This game would definitely benefit a lot from FSR 4 as well as ray reconstruction on the Nvidia side of things. FSR 4 has some built-in things which do ray reconstruction pretty well as well. So I'd like to see that being implemented into this title. I couldn't really enable FSR 4, unfortunately. In fact, if I bring up the Radeon settings over here, it doesn't show any option for the FSR 4. And I'm looking into the OptiScaler thingy, by the way. Okay, it's not in this video because I don't really feel the need to use it, because we don't really need to utilize upscaling. So let's stop it right there, guys. Very smooth experience here at 1080p resolution. No need to drop down the settings. So let's go up to the 4K resolution now while utilizing maximum RT settings. This is definitely not how I'd play this game, once again, because it will be below 60 FPS pretty much all of the time, but it's just so we can see it a little bit before we test some very high RT settings instead. So it gets around like 45 frames per second here, and this is not an intensive area whatsoever, alright, because it's just the city part of the game. Got a little vegetation there, a few bushes, and it already dropped like crazy there. I could definitely feel the slowdown. It's still going to be a playable experience, of course. Yeah, nice reflections here. At 4K resolution, they're even better. I'm noticing a little bit of ghosting for the first time here in this video around the car, you know, on the back of it mostly, but it's super minor. Yeah, it's not really that noticeable, honestly, but it is there. If you look at it, it can be a little bit distracting, unfortunately. That's something that we will probably see in GTA 6 as well, because it also runs ray tracing, and I already saw some ghosting in the GTA 6 trailer. It's probably because I spend my life basically testing games and noticing these things. So the average Joe won't really notice anything, actually, I think. Let's keep on going here, 30-ish frames per second, as you can see. Yeah, drops by a lot in Jack's Hill, my friends. And hello, Jacqueline. I'm not sure with this kind of lighting. Yes, hi to you too. You know, we love both. We love both Jack and Jacqueline, their family. So when are we going to see Jacqueline's? the tiny ones. Jesus Christ, dude. It drops like crazy inside of bushes. Holy crap, even though we already killed Bob, he's still here ruining our days with his freaking bushes. Anyway, I'm gonna stop it right there. 44 FPS average, 24 1% lows. It gets to a point in some situations where it's not really what I'd call playable anymore. So we need to drop down the settings. I'm gonna do very high ray tracing and apply that, and also restart the game completely so it fully applies things properly. And here we have it. These are the very high RT settings. We're at 4K resolution still. As you can see, some things went down to very high from ultra, some things are now disabled, like this one right here, so it makes it a lot less intensive. And here we have it. We're starting with 60-ish frames per second. Not too bad at 4K resolution. Damn, I can see some artifacting there on Michael's clothes. I almost said Jack's clothes. But look at that. Yeah, some ghosting there from the lights probably. Oh, yeah, from that ground over there. Really weird. That's the first time that I'm noticing something like that. Now, if we go inside, it will actually drop from 60 FPS, as you can see. 50s now. Not too great of an experience still, with very high RT settings. Very playable, obviously, and it's a good bump over what we got previously on maximum ray tracing settings, but it's not going to be the most buttery smooth experience ever. Over here, as usual, way higher FPS than inside of the house. And back there at Michael's house, actually, the patio and stuff. Little bit of ghosting once again that I can notice, but you actually gotta look for it once again. So not a big issue. And you know what? I want to see it in first person for a little bit as well, because there was a first person gameplay scene on the GTA 6 trailer, which was absolutely great, you know, and looked a lot better than this, obviously. But again, this is a more than 10-year-old game. It's a 12-year-old title at this point. Anyway, let's keep on going. Come on, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's okay. Guys, please stop. Yeah, okay. Well, was that Bob over there, by the way, with a backpack? Maybe. We missed that bastard, so we gotta get him again. Anyway, around here, already dropping into the 50s. Okay, it dropped into the 30s previously, so major improvement there once again. No Jack. Oh, Jacqueline is there. Hello, Jacqueline. How's it going? Wow. To you too. Over here. Okay, not dropping into the 20s anymore. So about a 90 or 80% improvement in performance just by dropping the settings one little notch. And goodbye, Bob. There we go. I'm so sorry, Rex. He's fine. He's absolutely fine. And now he's gonna run away from Bob, because Bob is a very bad person, of course. Like a normal dog who loves their owners would stay by their owner, right? I feel. Rex doesn't. As soon as Bob gets killed, we free Rex every single time. So to those of you who say that Bob is a good person and I'm evil, no. Dogs don't lie, my friends. Now, instead of dropping the settings one notch further, I think we're gonna use some quality FSR3 that doesn't look too bad at 4K resolution. Yeah, it's a tad bit softer, but honestly, Still good looking. Yeah, let's keep on going. Let's go back to Jack's Hill, see the lowest FPS again. It just looks like TAA now, honestly, at 4K resolution. At the lower resolutions, there is a major difference in terms of FSR native AA versus FSR quality. And over here, we can start seeing more ghosting as well, behind the car especially. That's way more noticeable than FSR native AA. But it also improves our FPS like crazy, and it still looks like a 4K picture to me, so I would totally use this. If you are playing at 4K resolution, go with the FSR quality instead of FSR native AA to achieve 60 plus 100% of the time. Over here, Bob shouldn't be here anymore because, well, we killed him. Although I think the paramedics already came and got him to the hospital and revived him, because that's always what they do. But over in these bushes, super demanding ones, not dropping from 60 anymore. Major improvement once again. Oh, what are you doing here? Goodbye, Bob. There we go. We got him. We got him. What the heck? That was a nasty surprise. I hated it. I was fine on my own, and then I saw a demon all of a sudden. Imagine that. It plays very well, even with the ray tracing settings still very high RT, and that's great. I would totally choose this if I was playing at 4K resolution with a 9070. I'm not sure if a lot of people are playing at 4K resolution though, with this GPU in particular, because I feel like if you're going 4K, you want at least a 5070 Ti or 9070 XT, and the XT version only costs like $50 more than the 9070 non-XT, so that's definitely the one to get, even for 1440p. I mean, it's $50, and you get a bit faster GPU, like 15-20% faster. That can make a big difference, especially in a few years' time. But let's go ahead and do native AA again and play with the 1440p resolution. Yep, that's the last thing to do in this video. Here we have it, 2560 by 1440, very high RT settings, FSR native AA now, and well, yeah, I mean, we get around the same FPS as 1080p with the maximum RT settings. So it's gonna be a high refresh rate experience all of the time this time around, guys. Let me just check once again that the FSR is set to native AA. Yes, it is, as you can see there. And let's make it rain a little bit, actually. Here we go, 120s. Around 20 FPS drop from the clear weather, I think. That's pretty crazy. Start counting our frames once again. But yeah, it's exactly the same, right? As 1080p maximum RT settings, native resolution. But now we're keeping that 1440p native resolution, which is a lot sharper, as I told you. And we're also keeping pretty much the same visuals. Oh my. Yeah, very nice. I mean, this is all on purpose, obviously. I'm a pro when it comes to doing these tricks with the car. Flips and stuff like that. Killing Bob as well and Bob's friends. Yeah, amazing. Let's keep on going here. Go to Jack's Hill, and then I will actually use a little cheat to fly around a little bit, alright? And also, it would probably be a good idea to turtle up the car. That's fixing the car, basically. That's the cheat. Anyway, let's go. Jacqueline's still here. Hello, buddy. How's it going? It's raining. You should go home, actually. Maybe this is their home, and I'm disrupting their peace every single time, and that's why they run away from me. Huh. Anyway, around here, instead of dropping to like 50s, it drops to the 80s. So it's going to be buttery smooth 100% of the time. High refresh rate, with drops into the 80s, is barely noticeable, honestly, in a single-player title. It runs and looks extremely well, guys. I think these are the settings I would choose for 1440p with this GPU in particular. It's flawless. And now, as promised, I am doing this. Okay, start counting our frames. By the way, whenever you reach 160-ish frames per second, it seems to be the lock or the cap of this engine right now, or on this version of the game. The previous one, the Legacy, was 188 frames per second before it started stuttering like crazy, and this one starts stuttering very close to 160. So if you get close to 160, if you play like at normal settings for competitive play, I don't know. Oh, wait a second. Hey, whoa, come on. Almost. I want to hit the chopper. Oh, that would be so insane, guys. That would burn. No, he's running away from us. They're very scared of El Crespo. Maybe we can hit that one. Oh, boy. No! That was way too far off. All right. But yeah, you're better off just locking the FPS to like 144 with the Riva Tuner, for example, or in the Radeon settings, if you can do that. I'm not sure. And call it a day, because that's going to be a much better experience, because it won't stutter ever.
Are you serious?
And here, I am very serious. Yes, your game stutters, okay? It's not my problem. It's not stuttering anymore. There's no need for that reaction. Okay, I think that's about it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at GTA 5 Enhanced on 9070, and I'll catch you guys in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.